She lost everything in one night. Her marriage, her home, her dignity. The man she loved betrayed her, and the life she built crumbled like ashes in her hands. How could you do this to me, to us?
Sarah, it just happened. You will get over it.
13 years, gone, just like that.
Now, she's a single mother, fighting to survive in a world that doesn't.
But what if love finds you when you're at your weakest? What if the one thing you fear most is the only thing that can save you? Stay with me, because Sarah's story isn't just about heartbreak.
It's about survival, second chances, and a love she never saw coming.
This is Vicky Madge, love stories with morals that touch the heart. Let's begin.
Sarah sat on the floor of her once beautiful home, surrounded by half-packed boxes. Just a few weeks ago, this place was filled with laughter, pictures on the walls, and family dinners. Now it looked like a crime scene after a storm. Sarah, muttering to herself, exhausted. 13 years. All gone, like none of it mattered. Her hands trembled as she taped the last box. She had discovered the affair only 2 months ago. Her husband, the man she built her life with, was sleeping with someone else. It wasn't just the betrayal. It was the way he looked at her when she confronted him. No regret, no shame, just cold indifference. Sarah, tell me it's not true. Please just tell me. Husband shrugging. Sarah, it just happened. I didn't plan it. Those words still burned in her mind. The divorce had been fast, brutal, and merciless. He got the house. She got scraps. And now, she was fighting tooth and nail for custody of her daughter, Emma. Sarah and Emma moved into a small, run-down apartment across town. The paint peeled from the walls, and the thin walls made every argument of the neighbors echo through the night. Emma ate, sitting on the bed clutching a stuffed toy. Mommy, when do we go home? Sarah, forcing a smile, kneeling down. This is home now, baby. Just smaller. But it's ours. She lied. Even the word ours felt like sandpaper in her throat. She didn't feel like anything belonged to her anymore. She worked double shifts, days as a waitress, nights cleaning offices. Her feet ached, her back screamed, but the bills never stopped coming. She told herself she didn't care about love anymore. Love was destruction. Love was betrayal. All she had left was survival. But there was one reason she couldn't give up. Emma. That little girl was her anchor in the storm. The only pure thing left in a world that had turned dark. Sarah, whispering to herself while looking at Emma sleeping. I'll never let anyone hurt us again. Never. What Sarah didn't know was that her life was about to collide with someone else who carried the same kind of scars. Someone who had lost just as much. Someone who would challenge everything she believed about love. She thought love had destroyed her, and swore she'd never let anyone in again. But fate had other plans, and the first crack in her walls would come on a stormy night, when her car gave out in the worst possible place. Sarah's car had been on its last breath for months, but today, of all days, it chose to die. The rain poured harder, the hood hissed with steam, and Emma sat in the back seat clutching her backpack. Emma worried. Mom, why is the car making that noise? Sarah, slamming the steering wheel, frustrated. Because life isn't fair, sweetheart. One by one, other parents drove past, honking, waving at their kids, rushing to their warm houses. No one stopped. No one cared. Sarah felt the sting of humiliation tighten her chest. That was the moment she saw him. Stranger. Tall, calm. Moving with the quiet confidence of someone who had seen storms before. David, knocking on her window, raising his voice over the rain. Need a hand? Sarah, rolling the window down slightly, defensive. No, we're fine. Just go. Her pride spoke louder than her need. She didn't want pity. She'd had enough of people looking at her like she was broken. David, pausing, then steady and kind. It's not pity. It's just being human. Something in his tone made her freeze. It wasn't charity. It wasn't condescension. It was real. Sarah, reluctant, sighing. Fine. But if it explodes, it's on you. Emma, whispering to Sarah, smiling for the first time that day. Mommy, he looks like he knows what he's doing. Within minutes, the engine coughed back to life. The car rattled, but it ran. Sarah blinked, stunned. Sarah, fumbling in her bag. Wait, how much do I owe you? David, shaking his head, closing the hood. Nothing. Just glad you and your little one aren't stuck out here in this storm. Sarah, insisting, frustrated. No, I can't just take charity. Let me. David, cutting her off, handing her a small card. It's not charity. Like I said, just being human. If the car acts up again, call me. I'm a mechanic. Name's David. Sarah sat there, card in hand, heart pounding. She told herself it meant nothing. Just another man passing through. But deep down, something about his kindness shook the walls she had spent months building. She swore she'd never let anyone in again. But sometimes the heart doesn't listen. Sometimes fate doesn't knock. It breaks down right in front of your car. Sarah, whispering to herself. He's just a stranger. Just a mechanic. That's all. But she slips the card into her pocket instead of throwing it away. She told herself it meant nothing. But deep down, something about him lingered. And soon, their children would pull them closer in a way Sarah never expected. Emma said to Sarah, excited, Mommy, that's my new friend. His name is Lucas. David walks up behind Lucas, holding his backpack. He gives Sarah a polite nod. She stiffens. David, looks like our kids hit it off. Sarah, curt, guarded. Yeah. Kids make friends fast. She wanted to sound indifferent, but part of her was grateful. Emma hadn't smiled like that in weeks. And there he was again, this man who kept showing up. Her second shift was the loneliest part of her day. Just her, an empty building, and exhaustion pressing down like weights. The front door creaks open. Sarah looks up, startled. David steps in, holding 2 paper cups. David, smiling slightly. Didn't mean to scare you. I figured you could use this. He sets down a cup of coffee on the janitor's cart. Steam rises into the cold air. Sarah, frowning, defensive. You didn't have to. Don't. I can't owe anyone favors. David said gently. It's just coffee, Sarah. Nothing more. She stared at the cup like it was a trap. But her hands shook as she picked it up. Warmth spread through her fingers, and for the first time in months, she let out a breath that wasn't filled with anger. David, after a pause. I never asked about Emma's dad, but I can guess it's complicated. Sarah, stiff, then exhaling. Complicated is one word. He broke us. Cheated. Left us with nothing. I swore I'd never trust another man again. David looks down, his jaw tightening. He rubs his hands together before speaking. David quietly said, My wife died 3 years ago. Car accident. One moment she was here, the next gone. Since then, it's just been me and Lucas. Trying to figure it out day by day. Sarah turns, eyes widening. For the first time, she sees the pain behind his calm exterior. Sarah said softly, I'm sorry. I didn't know. David, shrugging slightly with a sad smile. Most people don't. I don't talk about it much. But I guess you make it easy to. Sarah felt her chest tighten. For months, she believed she was the only broken one. But here he was, carrying his own scars, surviving his own battles. Sarah, voice low, trembling. I don't know how to trust again. Every time I think about it, I just see it falling apart all over. David leans forward, his tone steady, kind. David said, I'm not asking you to trust me with your heart yet. Just your friendship. Beat of silence. Sarah studies him, her walls trembling. Then for the first time she nods. Barely, but enough. It wasn't love. Not yet. But for the first time since her world collapsed, Sarah felt something she thought was gone forever. Hope. Sometimes, healing doesn't start with grand gestures. Sometimes, it starts with coffee in the quiet, laughter of children in the distance, and the courage to say yes to friendship. David walks Sarah to her car after her late cleaning shift. She smiles faintly, holding the cup of coffee he gave her. For a moment, the weight on her shoulders seems lighter. For the first time in months, Sarah felt hope flicker. Suddenly, her phone buzzed. It is Michael, her ex-husband. But just as her heart began to open, the past came knocking, determined to tear apart everything she was rebuilding. She wasn't expecting anyone. And when she opened that door, her past came storming back. Mark smoothly. "Sarah, we need to talk." Sarah, stiff, gripping the doorknob. "There's nothing to talk about. You made your choice." Mark, stepping closer, lowering his voice. "I made mistakes, I admit that. But Emma, she needs both her parents. And maybe we could try again." The words hit like knives. Try again. After the betrayal, after the lies. But then he leaned in, his tone sharp, his threat clear. Mark whispering, "Unless you want me to fight for full custody. Lawyers can make things ugly, Sarah." Emma worried. "Mommy, who was that?" Sarah, forcing a smile, trembling. "No one, baby. Just no one." But it wasn't no one. It was the ghost she thought she buried. And suddenly, every wall she had built came crashing back. Sarah back at the diner, wiping tables aggressively. David walks in quietly, noticing her distress. David said to her, "Hey, I just wanted to check in. You've seemed off lately." Sarah, snapping, voice shaking. "This was a mistake. We were a mistake. Can't do this. We're too broken." "I'm too broken." David stands still, absorbing the words. He doesn't fight. His voice is calm but heavy with hurt. "David, I understand. If this is what you need, I'll step back." He places a folded napkin with a note and leaves silently. Sarah picks it up later, written in his steady hand. "If you ever need a friend, I'm still here." He didn't chase her. He didn't beg. He respected her fear. But even from a distance, his kindness lingered, in the little ways only Sarah noticed. Even when she pushed him away, he found ways to care, quietly, without expectation. Sarah tucking Emma into bed. Emma frowns, looking at her mom seriously. Emma, innocent but piercing, said, "Mommy, why did you make David go away? He made you smile again." Sarah freezes. Her throat tightens. Tears fill her eyes as she strokes Emma's hair. Sarah, voice breaking, whispering, "Because, baby, sometimes love hurts too much." But as she sat there, holding her daughter's hand, she realized the truth. The thing she feared most wasn't losing David. It was losing the chance to feel alive again. David watches from across the school parking lot as Sarah loads Emma into the car. She avoids his eyes. He quietly places a small gift bag, a toy car for Emma, on the hood of her car before walking away. She thought pushing David away would protect her. Inside the car, Emma looks at her mother with teary eyes. Emma, innocent, heartbreaking, said to her mom, "Mom, why did you make David go away? He made you smile again." Sarah grips the steering wheel, fighting back tears. Her reflection in the rearview mirror looks broken. Sarah realized she had been letting fear run her life. Fear of betrayal, fear of pain, fear of losing everything again. But the truth was, she was already losing something, losing the chance at happiness standing right in front of her. Sarah takes a shaky breath, grabs her coat and walks out. She went to David's garage late evening. The sound of tools clinking echoes in the quiet. David wipes his hands on a rag, surprised to see Sarah at the doorway. David, careful, reserved. "Sarah, I didn't expect to see you here." Sarah, voice trembling, blurting out, "I'm terrified, David. Every part of me wants to run. But I'm more afraid of losing you than I am of being hurt again." David sets the rag down slowly, eyes steady on hers. David, gently but firmly, said to her, Love isn't about guarantees, Sarah. It's about choosing each other every single day, even when it's hard. That's all I can promise you. Tears spill down Sarah's cheeks. She nods, stepping closer. Their silence says what words can't. Weeks later, Sarah found herself in the last place she thought she'd ever be again. Sitting beside someone, not alone, not broken, but whole. Emma and Lucas stand on stage together, holding hands as part of the play. Sarah glances sideways at David, who smiles softly at her. For a long moment, she hesitates. Then, she reaches out and takes his hand. Their hands interlock, not perfect but steady. David turns, eyes warm, and squeezes gently. Sometimes our greatest love stories begin when we think our hearts are too broken to love again. And in the end, Sarah discovered that sometimes the greatest love stories don't begin with certainty. They begin with fear, with brokenness, and with the courage to choose love anyway. Sarah's journey wasn't just about loss. It was about rediscovering what it means to live, to hope, to trust again. And in that moment she realized, healing isn't about avoiding pain. It's about choosing love even when the risk of being hurt still lingers. Second chances require courage, not the absence of fear, but the strength to act despite it. True love is patient, doesn't demand, wait. It gives space for broken hearts to heal. Children often see what adults miss. Their simple hope can guide us back to the love we thought was lost. So remember, no matter how broken your past, your future can still hold love. Because sometimes, the greatest love stories begin when we think our hearts are too shattered to love again. If this story sounds like what you have been through, don't forget to like this video, drop a comment. Tell us how you overcame it or what you did differently. Kindly subscribe to this channel and share this story to reach out to others in similar situation. Thank you.